So, hi there. Good to be back. Today is the 31st of December, so New Year's Eve, 2017. So, Happy New Year to all of you there. This is just a video by means of a very quick update to you around Evelyn's project. And I'm sorry this has taken so long, but there's just been so much happening. So, as you know, we went public with the story, and really, I just want to give you a flavour as to what's happened in that time and what is outstanding. In a way, going public, I naively thought was probably the end of the story, but in actual fact, it was more like you could say the end of a beginning. Yeah. So just to give you a bit of background, so after it went live and the story spread, we were bowled over by the uptake the story received. The story received far larger an uptake than I felt it would, which was really uplifting. And that's been really, really, really great. I do want, however, as well to say thank you, and a huge thank you to all of you, and you know who you are, who have been there for us in that time. The loss of a baby, and I can only speak for myself and my own experience, is something, it's an interesting grieving process, if you can use the word interesting. You don't know what you need in the very beginning, and the process of working through that can be sometimes very eclectic. Grief strikes in very odd ways, but I just want to say to all of you out there, on behalf of all our families, our close friends, and you know who you are, and family, a huge thank you. And just to let you know that we're doing okay. There's been bumps, but we've been doing okay. We still go to counselling, we still do the things we need to do. And so I alluded there a minute ago to the fact that it kind of has begun something more than finished something, the going public. So the going public was really, really helpful. It was cathartic. I know that was something I thought it would be from the very beginning. I'm glad that that did really, really help going public. It also opened up a field of yet to be completed tasks, I suppose. So, as you know, we've had a very good relationship, in spite of everything, with the National Maternity Hospital. So, as many of you know, and the website is updated regularly. I've Louise to thank for that. We have had a good relationship, and in the time that has gone on, I want to update you about 3 pieces of work that have yet to be done, but look like, and I'm cautiously optimistic, look like they will happen. So, as you probably remember, Evelyn died of neonatal herpes, or neonatal HSV, the herpes simplex virus. And one of the reasons, and possibly a reason why the story went so broad, and a lot of people followed it, was that people hadn't heard that a baby could die of that. And so it became very clear why that was so. Because one of the things that we realized early on when we were doing our research around neonatal herpes was that it wasn't a notifiable disease. Now, this is not a video to discuss the ins and outs of notifiable disease, but needless to say, one of the things that is now I'm glad to report, is in progress at the moment, is we have had a meeting with the Department of Health, and they have informed us that they are happy to try and proceed to get neonatal HSV a notifiable disease. There are a number of steps involved in that, and we were very kindly brought through them. But yes, that's a positive. When that will be, we don't know. But we have met with them. We have met with senior people in the Department of Health who have informed us they will be furthering that. So let's watch that and let's see what happens. That would be really huge. If it was made a notifiable disease, what that would mean, that would have implications. You would have implications around gathering empirical data on neonatal herpes in Ireland, because we don't have it. We had to cite, as many of you know, we had to cite data and statistics from the US, the UK and Australia. That's a little poor. And as a country who put ourselves out there as being bastions of, maternity care, one would hope that something that affects neonates, so babies a month old and younger, you would expect that we'd be capturing that data. We're not. But if it becomes notifiable, we will be capturing that data. And again, it's not a huge thing in the sense of there's not a huge amount of data to be caught if we believe that our statistics are probably like the UK, which means it's not a very common thing to happen, thankfully. But obviously, one is too many. So that will be important, start capturing the data. So that's one thing. So the process has begun. I currently cannot tell you, because I actually don't know, whereabouts that is in terms of department level. But we met with them and they said they're happy to bring that forward. So that's brilliant. So that's the first thing. So the process of making neonatal HSV notifiable has begun. Number two, we also had a meeting with, and bear with me, I need to just refer to my notes here because of the acronym. We had a meeting with the NWIHP. So what that is the National Women's Infant Health Programme. We met with that with two senior people who work in that, and the reason we met with them was that we were very, very conscious that the National Maternity Hospital in Holles Street, after Evelyn died, they brought in some really great changes, and they are a hospital who really, really did make the effort to create awareness around this virus. They did. They just did, and they made many changes. However, here's the thing. Those changes are not required for other hospitals to take up. It's just what the National Maternity Hospital themselves did. But other hospitals aren't necessarily doing it. There would be less of an awareness. I confidently state there would be less of an awareness of neonatal HSV in other maternity units compared to the National Maternity Hospital. Now, they all talk to each other, no doubt. So there is an awareness of this case. But in terms of actual awareness and information provided to midwives and to mums-to-be, it's really, really great in the National Maternity Hospital. They're doing it. I've seen it, so I can say it. However, there's 18 other units, and Louise and I are very aware, and our families are very aware, and our friends are very aware, that that message isn't necessarily in every hospital. So meeting that group, again, bear with me, the NWIHP, they would be responsible for sending out directives to other hospitals, to other maternity units, encouraging certain steps to be taken and certain protocols to be in place. It still comes down to the hospital to make their choices, I assume. However, by putting it there and by it coming from that part of the women's health program, then that narrative around HSV and the changes that the National Maternity Hospital have brought in can hopefully, to some degree, be replicated in those other hospitals. So for us, that's a really, really important thing, that it will be replicated so that we are confident other mums-to-be in other hospitals are having children and babies in a place that is equally as aware as the National Maternity Hospital is of the risks to infants from cold sores. It really is a very basic message, Sadly, however, basic things sometimes slip through. So that would be really, really great. That's a great positive. So that's the second thing. And the third thing, and this is by no means a small thing, this has yet to happen, in the sense of it's yet to even, we don't even have a date for this. But in trying to get a meeting with the Department of Health, I'm not going to lie to you, it was not easy. And that was around getting the disease notifiable. As you know, meeting those people, it took a bit of time. However, thanks to a local Fianna Fáil senator, actually, or TD, he helped get those meetings going. Another thing he did, which was we are really, really grateful, was that he said that he'd be able to get us speaking time in the Oireachtas to tell our story to ministers in the Oireachtas. That would be really important, because it would create a much broader awareness when we're looking at making the disease notifiable. So we have yet to get a date, but Louise and I do look forward to visiting and speaking in the Oireachtas to our politicians and letting them know. Many would know the story anyway, but in actual fact, the particular person who has been great and supportive to us admitted that he didn't know this story. But yet, look what he's done. He's putting things in place for us to go and bring this story forward. So there'll be further video updates, and I'll be able to share more with you. Now, there are the three things that are kind of current, and you will see that when you look at the website rememberingevelyn.org, you will see that we mentioned those. There's other things you won't see, and that's because currently we can't mention it at the moment. But there have been a couple of other developments, which I will bring to you in due course. And I look forward to doing so then. So look, I'll sign off for now. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for watching the video. And, you know, if you ever need to get in touch, please do. There's no problem. And thanks for your support. And just to say, as I bring this to an end, a word to the media. Thank you. The media sometimes get a pretty bad press, and there's justification at times for that. But to be fair, every interview we did, from national radio stations to the smaller ones, to the interviews that went published, to our appearances on TV3, people were just so kind. And you might say, well, why wouldn't they be? Yeah, I get it, but you know, sometimes machines like the media can be a bit harsh. They were very good to us. Our story was dealt with in a very caring and supportive way. And again, those of you out there, the journalists and those who interviewed us, thank you. Thank you for being so kind and, you know, being so sensitive. Okay, I'll leave it there. Talk to you again.